For an easy lunch today, I made some cheeseburger quesadillas. These are insanely easy and really delicious. All the kids love them. First, you're going to cook a couple pounds of ground beef depending on how many you're making. I made pretty many, but I have a big family. Put whatever seasoning in there you want to and drain that fat. And then I'm using a really large electric skillet. I put a little bit of oil down, and then you're going to put some of that ground beef on half of your tortilla. And I used the bigger tortillas, and then a bunch of shredded cheese on top of that. And then we also added some red onions and some pickles, but you can do whatever burger toppings you want. And then you're just gonna close that up and then flip whenever they're all nice and golden. And you can put your sauce on here if you want. We're just dipping it in our sauce. I made some Big Mac sauce that I'll put in the written recipe too. But these were really delicious. I love that the kids love them. They were dipping them in all sorts of things. Highly recommend this one, and it's really easy. Tonight I made a 1-pan garlic parmesan and rice. This meal only took about 15 minutes and it was delicious. This is everything you're gonna need. Some chicken broth, some minced garlic, parmesan cheese, heavy whipping cream, some instant rice, and some of that Buffalo Wild Wing parmesan garlic sauce. First, you're gonna take that chicken and keep it up, and then I seasoned it with this garlic and herb blend from the stash. And then you're just gonna cook this in that hot pan for just like 5 minutes or so. That's all it'll take to cook that through. And then you're going to add some minced garlic to this and just toss it up. Then add 1.5 cups of this white instant rice and then toss that up a bit till everything's nice and toasted a little bit. And then a cup of beef broth, and a half of a cup of heavy whipping cream, and then another half of a cup of this Parmesan garlic sauce by Buffalo Wild Wings. Mix that all together. And they're going to let this get to a boil, which will not take long, and then cover for about 3 to 4 minutes until that rice is cooked through, which won't take long because it's instant rice. And then you're going to take about a 3/4 cup to a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, mix that in and let it melt for a bit. Top with a little more Parmesan, and then it's done. It is creamy and delicious, and the whole family loved this. Today I made gooey Funfetti Bars. These are incredible and seriously easy to make too. Anybody can make them. First, you're going to take a 8x8 dish and line it with some parchment paper. Then you're going to take a box of Funfetti cake mix and just put that in a large bowl. And then add 2 eggs to this, and then a 1/3 cup of oil. And that is all. You don't need to add water or anything else. This is it. Stir this together really well, and it kind of makes this like dough. Then you're going to press this into your 8x8 dish that's lined with parchment paper, and I definitely recommend using the parchment paper. It works so much easier than anything else. Just pat that in there, and then you're going to bake this at 350 for about 20 minutes. You take that out and then let it cool all the way down, and then this is your icing. So I did a 1/2 stick butter, a 1/2 block of softened cream cheese, a teaspoon or so of vanilla, and then just mix that really well. And then add a 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Do this kind of slowly. My bowl was tiny, I don't know why I used it. You're gonna stir that together really well and then add some sprinkles. Once that has cooled all the way down, you're gonna take that out and then you spread it with your icing. This icing is so incredible too. Then you're going to spread that icing all around, and then it is ready to serve. We cut ours into little squares. It has a consistency of like brownies or a gooey butter cake. It's amazing. I hope you guys give it a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made a Crockpot maple bacon roast. This was incredible, and we can eat on it for days. First, I took a 4-pound chuck roast and then seasoned that really well. I did this caramelized onion butter seasoning for it, and you're gonna sear that in a pan. I seared it with my bacon grease from when I made my bacon. So it looks like this, and then you're just gonna toss that into your Crockpot. And then you're gonna add a 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar, a 1/2 cup of maple syrup, and then some minced garlic. I did about a tablespoon or 2 of this. And then I did some easy onion. You can add an onion in here, I just didn't have any. And then I did a cup of beef broth. And then I did about a whole pound of bacon, and I just crumbled that up into the Crockpot. I put this on high for about 5 hours until it all started falling apart, just like this. I also always take out as much fat as I can, and then I serve it. I think it tastes way better. I hate the fatty parts. And then I served mine over mashed potatoes, but you could serve it with sandwiches or anything. That's what we plan on doing today, is just making some sandwiches with it. You can also cube up some potatoes and add it at the very beginning with this too. I just knew I was making mashed potatoes, so there was no need for me to, but I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today's dinner was amazing. I made a chicken bacon Alfredo cheesy garlic bread. This was so incredible and you have to try it. First, I took 2 large chicken breasts and then I sliced those thin, so I made 4 out of them. Season those up and then set them aside. Now you're gonna make the cheesy garlic part of the bread. So first you're gonna have 2 tablespoons of softened butter and then about 3/4 cups of mayonnaise, a couple scoops of minced garlic, a little bit of Italian seasoning in there, and about 3/4 cups to a cup of Parmesan cheese. Just mix this together really well, and then take that dollar loaf of French bread from Walmart and then split this in half just like this. And then you're gonna scoop that cheesy garlic mixture right onto your bread just like this, and then spread all around. Next, you're gonna cook that chicken. The chicken does not take long at all to cook. In a hot pan, I added some of my bacon grease from my bacon earlier, and then I cooked that for just like maybe 5 to 8 minutes or so, and then it's done cooking. And then you're gonna throw that back into the pan after you cut it. Then I added a little over half of this jar of Alfredo sauce and then just tossed it up a little bit, just like this. And then you are going to top that chicken onto that bread just like this, and then I added the rest of the sauce on there too. I topped with a little bit of mozzarella cheese and then about 7 to 8 strips of bacon all chopped up like this. And then I baked it at 400 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. Let that sit for a minute before you cut it. I hope you guys give this one a try. It is one of my all-time favorites. Hope you guys love it. Today I made a cheesy smoked sausage green bean casserole for dinner, and it was so amazing. A little different, but truly so good. First, you're going to take a block and a half of softened cream cheese. You're going to add a cup of milk to that and then put this in the microwave for about a minute or two until it's all nice and melty, and you're going to whisk this together really well until it's really smooth. So I microwaved it again for just like a minute or so and then whisked it again. All right, and then you're going to add a packet of onion soup mix to this and then mix that up, and then 2 of these bags of frozen green beans. And then I sauteed 2 smoked sausage links with some minced garlic in there too. And then you're just going to stir this up and then add it to your 9x13 pan, just like this. And then I took a half stick of butter, melted that, and added 2 of these crackers in there. Just mix this all together and then put it right on top. And then I baked this at 375 for about 40 minutes until it was all nice and golden and bubbly. I could not recommend this one enough. We served it with some baked potatoes on the side, but you could do whatever with it. Highly recommend this one. Let me know if you try it. Today I made this really easy Crockpot taco mac and cheese. The kids and I love this one, and it's really easy to make as always. First, I cooked 1.5 pounds of ground beef with a pack and a half of taco seasoning, and I put a pepper in mine. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then 4 cups of milk into that crock pot, and then 8 ounces of Velveeta cheese. I did the Mexican style Velveeta, so just this little bit right here. And you can cut that up whenever it's in the crock pot. And then I did a whole pound of shredded cheese. I did Colby Jack. You want to freshly shred that cheese because it'll be easier to melt. Whenever that's been about 2 hours on high, you're going to cook your macaroni noodles till al dente just on the stovetop, and then mix that in your crock pot and then top with a little bit more cheese. I am not a big fan of cooking the noodles in the crock pot. I know some people do, but I always find them to be either really mushy or not done. So I just find this way a lot easier, but you can do it however you want, and you can add to this dish and take away as much as you want. I let those noodles sit in here for another 15 to 30 minutes or so until everything is nice and incorporated. We love this one. I hope you guys give it a try. Made a really simple dinner tonight with just things that I had. So we had about a pound of chicken, and then I did a cup or so of Italian dressing, maybe a little more. Didn't really mean to do that. And then I did about a half cup to 3/4 cups of brown sugar, and I just cooked this on high for 4 hours and then shredded my chicken up and made some sandwiches out of them. You could serve it over rice or mashed potatoes too. I just did not want to heat up my house anymore because it is really hot here. I served mine on hot dog buns because that is what I had. Tonight for dinner, I made sheep hamburgers. The kids absolutely devour these after. So first, you're just going to take a 1.5 pounds of ground beef and just season that how you'd like. I did some burger seasoning, some salt and pepper, and then a couple tablespoons of horseradish sauce, and then about a tablespoon of some liquid smoke. And then I added a packet of the onion soup mix to this as well. You're going to mix this up really well. Takes a minute, and then you're going to pat this down into your sheet pan. You're going to flatten it out pretty much to the full size of the sheet pan. You're going to preheat that oven to 400 degrees and cook this for 10 minutes. take it out, drain the grease. I did it in a coffee mug. And then you're gonna add some chopped onions to the sides of the pan. This will give your ground beef some nice flavor. You're gonna take your buns, cut them while that's baking again for another 10 minutes. Take that out, put those onions on the top, and you're gonna top it with whatever cheese you want. We just did some Colby Jack. Pop that back in your oven for about 5 more minutes until that cheese is nice and melted. And then I added some French fried onions on top of this. And I put it back in the oven for just a few more minutes. And then whenever it comes out of the oven, it comes off the pan super easy. I just took 2 spatulas, and you're gonna put that right on your bread. And then I actually put a butter mixture over on top of mine and baked it again, but you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. You could just eat them like this if you want. But I did some garlic butter on top and baked it for a little bit longer. So easy, and these are so delicious. They taste like a White Castle burger kind of. Highly recommend these, guys. Today I made Crockpot beef French onion potato casserole. This tasted amazing, way better than I expected, honestly, and really easy to make. So first you're gonna take a bag of frozen shredded hash browns and then put those into your crockpot. You could also use the cubed kind, so whatever's fine on that. And then a 16-ounce container of sour cream, a can of mushroom soup, and then a half stick of butter melted. Then I added a couple cups of shredded cheese. I just did Colby Jack because that's what I had. And then you're gonna stir this up. This is what takes the longest, is the stirring up part. And then a packet of the French onion soup. So keep stirring. And then you're gonna cook a pound of ground beef separately and then throw that in the crock pot too. More mixing. And then I forgot to season it, so I went back and then I seasoned it and had to stir it all over again. So I just did garlic powder and then some pepper. Stir this up really well, flatten it out, and then I topped mine with those French fried onions. You could do this at the end because mine did get a little soft, but it still tasted really amazing. I hope you guys give this a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made these delicious crock-pot garlic butter steak tacos. The whole family devoured these, and there's not very many ingredients in this dish, so it's really easy to make. So first in your crock-pot, you're gonna add a flank steak. And then you're gonna need all these ingredients. So beef broth, a stick of butter, some minced garlic, au jus mix, and then just whatever seasoning you want to use. First, you're gonna put about 1.5 cups of beef broth in there. Do the low sodium kind. And then you can season it with whatever you want. I use the Kinder's caramelized onion butter. Then you're gonna add a packet of the au jus mix, and then a couple big scoops of minced garlic, and then a stick of butter. And you can use unsalted here if you don't want it very salty or anything. Just gonna close that up and then cook on high for about 4 hours, and then that meat shreds all up nicely. This is so delicious. I made these little tacos out of mine, but you could serve this over mashed potatoes. I just didn't feel like making any. To make those little tacos, I just added the shredded meat to the really small tortillas, added a little bit of oil to my pan, and then just cook those up just like this. Then we dip these in that garlic butter gravy that they cooked in. These were so incredible. I highly recommend. I hope you guys give them a try.
Wow, I love this. I just want to see it.
Like in a mean way or like a funny way? No.
Today for dinner, I made a crock-pot cheesy beefy enchilada potato casserole. This was so good. This was incredibly easy to make too. First, you're gonna take a 28-ounce bag of these frozen hash browns. I did the O'Brien style. And then 1 can of the enchilada sauce, 1 can of black beans rinsed and drained, and then 1 can of the cheddar cheese soup. And then you're gonna cook that ground beef with an onion and a pepper. I thought I could use another pepper, just so you know. After you drain that grease, just season it how you like. I seasoned it with some Slap Your Mama. So you're just gonna add this to your crock pot with everything else. And then I did 2 cups of this Fiesta blend cheese. Just stir this up really well and then cook it on high for just a few hours, or you could do low a little bit longer. After that cheese is all melted and it is done, I added it to a bowl and then just topped mine with some sour cream, but you could add whatever you want to this. We just made a side salad to go with this because it is pretty heavy, but it is delicious. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made crockpot lemon chicken. It was delicious, and I also made some rice with it and some air fried carrots. First I took some chicken thighs and I just seasoned those up really well with some pepper, Italian seasoning, and this garlic herb blend. You could also do chicken breast instead. This was just the cheaper option for us. And then I heated some butter in a skillet, and then I'm browning the chicken thighs before I put them in the crock pot. I think they get more flavor and stuff that way. Then I'm doing like a creamy lemon chicken, so I'm adding 3/4 cups of chicken broth and then 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. And that last half cup of heavy whipping cream, I'm adding some cornstarch in here just to thicken up the sauce. And then I'm gonna do a big scoop of minced garlic and then a little bit of pepper. Then I squeezed half of a lemon in there, maybe 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm gonna put just a couple slices of the lemon right in there. And then for my air fried carrots, I just sprayed them with oil and then seasoned them really well with salt, pepper, garlic powder, some Slap Your Mama, and I did about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Then I air fried these at 375 for almost 30 minutes. These took quite a bit of time in the air fryer. And at the last few minutes of that, I cooked them at 425 for a little bit longer, and they tasted amazing, honestly. Once that chicken was all done cooking, I plated everything up, and then I used that extra sauce to pour all over my rice. This was delicious, and I didn't have to heat up my whole kitchen while I made this one. Hope you guys enjoy. Today I made a 1-pan French onion chicken tortellini. This was so incredible and so easy, all in 1 pan, which makes life a lot easier. These are some of the ingredients you'll be using: 3 yellow onions, some frozen tortellini, some Gruyere cheese, beef broth, and chicken. First, you're gonna cut up those onions, which was the hardest part of this dish for me. My eyes could not handle it. Then you're gonna add half a stick of butter to a nice hot pan and then let that melt down. Then you're gonna add all those onions to it and get these all nice and caramelized. So you're gonna cook them for like 10 to 15 minutes or so. Season those really well with whatever you want. And then I added 2 tablespoons of brown sugar to those once they're about done, just like this. And then you're gonna cube up a couple pounds of chicken or so and then add that to your hot pan. This chicken will not take very long to cook just because you cubed it up nice and small. So about like 3 to 4 minutes or so. Then you're gonna add a big old scoop of minced garlic in there and then cook that just until fragrant. Then add a splash of the beef broth to this and then 2 tablespoons of flour to thicken up that sauce that we're gonna make. Then you're gonna add 1.5 cups of beef broth. Then stir this all together really well and it'll start to thicken pretty quick. Then you're gonna add your frozen tortellini. I did about half of this family-sized bag, just like this. And then these tortellini only take about 2 to 3 minutes to cook, so just wait till that's all nice and boiling and then cook a couple minutes. And then I topped it with that Gruyere cheese, all nice and shredded. Covered that just for a couple minutes until it's all nice and melted, and it turned out amazing. I'll definitely be making this one all the time. A timer for 3 minutes. Today I made a chicken Caesar pizza with cheddar bay biscuit dough for the crust. Okay, this is incredible. You have to try this one. Probably my favorite pizza now. Really easy to make too. I hope you guys give this one a try. So first you're gonna take a sheet pan, spray that down really well with some oil, then take that cheddar bay biscuit dough mix and make it as the package says. You're gonna put that on your sheet pan. This is where my thing stopped recording. You need to put oil all over your hands to spread it out. You have to listen to that because otherwise it's really hard. Then you're going to bake it at 425 for about 8 to 10 minutes. Take that out. Make sure you can lift it a little bit just like I did. Then you're going to take some Caesar dressing, spread that over. And then that garlic butter mixture that it came with, spread that over that as well and then spoon it all over. These are the toppings I'm using. I did about a cup of cooked chicken, onions, black olives. And then those are the 2 cheeses I'm doing. That's just really what I had. And then you're going to put that all over it just like this. Topped it with some pepper. Baked it again for around 10 minutes and then broiled it for just a bit. I added croutons to mine at the last minute. I'm glad I did. It was amazing. I hope you guys give this one a try. Let me know if you do. Today I made orange chicken in the crock pot. It's one of my kids' favorites. So first I took 2.5 pounds of chicken and I cubed mine up. You're going to put about half of a cup of cornstarch in there and you're going to stir this all up so everything is nice and coated. Just like this, and then you're going to get a hot pan with some oil and just brown that in there for about 3 minutes or so. You just want a nice little crust on those. And you're going to toss them back into your crock pot. You don't have to do that step if you don't want to, but it tastes a lot better. All right, and then you're going to take this whole jar of orange marmalade and you're going to put that in there. All right, and then you're going to add low sodium soy sauce. I did about 3/4 cup of this. And then you're going to add a teaspoon of ginger. I think I did a little too much there, but that's all right. And then I did a tablespoon of sesame oil and a big scoop of minced garlic. And then 1.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar. And then a few teaspoons of red pepper flakes. You don't have to do this step at all if you don't want any kind of spice to it. Stir that up really well till everything's nice and combined. And then you're gonna pour this over your chicken that's in the crock pot. Mix that up a bit. And then I cooked mine on low for about 3 hours. I love making this meal because I can make it all around lunchtime and then right when the kids get out of school, they'll have dinner ready and all my dishes are already washed. Highly recommend. The kids always clean their plates with this one. Today I made sheet pan quesadillas. I could not recommend these more. I'm eating them right now and they're absolutely delicious and really cheap too. So first I just took 2 cups of chicken and about 2 cups of cheese, a can of Rotel, and about a packet of taco seasoning. And you could really do whatever mixture you want. I thought about putting like beans or corn or whatever in there, or you can even switch out the meat for ground beef. The possibilities are endless because I cannot wait to make this again with different combinations in there. I used burrito tortillas and I used all 8 that came in the pack, but first you're going to put about 5 of them down and let them hang off of the sides, and then you're going to put your mixture on there and then spread it all out. I topped mine with more cheese because why not? And then you're going to just wrap the top ones just a little bit underneath, just tuck them under a little. This was really easy. All right, and then you're going to top it with some more oil on the top, and I put another sheet pan on top of this, and I spread it with a little oil just to make sure it didn't stick or anything, and so it get nice and crispy too. And I cooked these at 450 for about 20 minutes. You're going to take that sheet pan off for another 5 minutes or so, or you could put it on broil for a little bit to get them nice and crispy on the top. These were so delicious. I highly recommend making these. Cannot wait to make them again with another flavor combo. These were incredible. I'm so excited to share this recipe because it was absolutely delicious and really easy to make. So it's a beef, rice, broccoli, cheesy casserole, and it's really creamy and just so good. All right, so first it's 2 cups of instant rice, 2 cups of beef broth, and then a can of this cream of mushroom with roasted garlic. You could really do any cream of whatever soup in here if you don't like mushroom or anything. You're just going to stir this up in your pan really well, and then you're going to cook a pound of ground beef. I did mine with an onion, and then just season that really, really well, and then throw that in to your 9x13 with the rest. Then chop up some broccoli, and I put about a cup of broccoli on top of this. Make sure you chop it small enough. And then I did a 6-ounce block of this white cheddar cheese, and I put that on top. And then you're gonna top it again with these French fried onions. Just sprinkle those on. I didn't really measure here. And then I covered this and I baked it at 375 for 25 minutes. And then you're gonna take that foil off and bake another 5 to 10 minutes until those French fried onions are a little bit golden. It was so creamy and so good. I highly recommend this one. Let me know if you try it. Today I made the best, most comforting homemade potato soup. I love this recipe. It is delicious. You do it all in your crock pot as well. First, you're going to take 4 cups of chicken broth and then dump that in your crock pot. And then I peeled 8 potatoes and chopped them all up into little bite-sized pieces. You can make them bigger or smaller, however big you want them in your soup. And then I took 1 onion and diced it up and threw that in my crock pot as well. And then you were going to season it. I seasoned with salt, pepper, and some paprika. And then you could cook that on high for about 4 to 5 hours, low about 7 to 8 hours. Once that's done cooking, you are going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream to a separate bowl, and then 3/4 cups of sour cream. And then also I did 2 to 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Just stir that up really well. And before you throw this in, if you'd like to mash some of your potatoes down, you definitely can. I did not this time. I have done it both ways. It just depends on how you want your consistency of your soup. All right, so you dump that in. And then I also added 2 cups of shredded cheese. You can skip this step if you don't want any cheese in it at all, but I think this went perfectly. Then you're gonna let this sit for about an hour or so. I put mine on high just to get those cheeses nice and melted. I love this dish. It's probably my favorite dish of all time. I'm a huge potato fan though, so that might be why. I could eat this every day. I hope you guys make it. Tell me what you think if you do. Tonight I made Salisbury steak meatballs for dinner. These were really good and extremely easy to make. I'm really tired today. Georgia and Lena are still not feeling well and we were up a lot of the night. So first it's just a bag of frozen meatballs, an onion chopped up, 2 cans of beef broth, and then 2 packets of brown gravy. I actually used an au jus gravy and brown gravy because I was just working with what I had, but I think it would be better with 2 browns. All right, and then I did 2 to 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and then a bunch of mushrooms, maybe a cup or 2 of mushrooms. I did thicken up my sauce too with a couple tablespoons of cornstarch. It wasn't quite the consistency I wanted. All right, and then I made some mashed potatoes, and then I poured my meatballs and gravy all over the mashed potatoes, and this was incredible. I will be making this one all the time now. Today I made Frisco Melt Sloppy Joes on garlic bread. I'm obsessed with Steak and Shake's Frisco Melt. I thought this would be a fun version to make at home. So first I did the sauce for it. I did about 3/4 cup of Thousand Island dressing, a 1/2 cup of French dressing, and then a dash of Worcestershire sauce and a few tablespoons of ketchup. Just gonna stir that up really well and then cook your meat. So I did a pound of ground beef, threw in an onion in there, and then I added some burger seasoning. So you're just going to stir that up in there. And then I did about a 1/4 cup of beef broth. And then you're going to put a little more Worcestershire sauce right here. And then a tablespoon of cornstarch. Then you're going to get your sauce that you made and put about a 1/2 cup in there of that. You can put more of that sauce in there if you want it more sloppy for your sloppy joe, or you can do less, whatever you want. And then I baked the Texas toast style garlic bread. I just do it as the package says. And then you're gonna layer your cheese and your meat on. First I did a slice of American cheese, and then I put my meat mixture down, and then I did a slice of Swiss cheese. I only had enough for 6, just so you know, so add more ground beef if you want all 8 done. Then you're gonna put those back in the oven for another 4 minutes or so, but these turned out so delicious. I ate 3 instantly. Today for dinner, we made some fried potatoes with sausage, onions, and peppers on one pan. I had to use up all of these potatoes, so I thought this was perfect. So first we started off by just chopping up our potatoes onto these little cubes, and I'm gonna parboil my potatoes in the microwave. I did about 10 minutes in there with some water, and then I'm gonna cut all my veggies. This is all just what I had. You can pretty much put any veggies you want in there. So I chopped those all up pretty small, and then got this link sausage out too. Cut that all up. And then you're going to get a skillet or an electric skillet, whatever. I have an electric skillet. Pour a little oil in there. And then I'm going to use these seasonings. I did ranch and some Slap Your Mama. And once those potatoes are done, you're gonna put those in. You can see they did a great cutting job on the potatoes. And then you're gonna season them just with some salt and pepper to start off with. And then you're gonna cook those for about 8 minutes or so per side, maybe 10 minutes per side, until they're a nice golden color that you want them to be. Just about like right here. Because then you're gonna throw your veggies and your sausage in. And then you're gonna add those seasonings. I did Slap Your Mama and ranch. Make sure you stir that up really well. And then I fried again for another 10 minutes or so until everything was nice and golden brown. At the end, you can top it with some cheese. I did half of mine with cheese for the kids that love the cheese, and then half without to like it plain. And you can put some barbecue sauce or any kind of sauce over the top if you'd like. We love this one. It's really simple to make and everybody loves it. I highly recommend. Today I made a taco sweet potato tot casserole. This one was really easy, not too many ingredients. Anybody can make it. So first I cooked up 1.5 pounds of ground beef and then put 2 packets of taco seasoning in there with that water. I put a little bit of extra water. And then I did a can of black beans, rinsed and drained, a can of Rotel, and also I wanted to do a can of corn, but I didn't have any. I totally thought I did. And then a cup of shredded cheese. And then I got these sweet potato tots, and then I just placed these on top. This one is so easy and it was so good in the end. You're gonna bake this at 375 for around 45 minutes until you get it that nice crispiness of what you want. And I topped mine with a little cheese and put it back in the oven until that was all nice and melted. I highly recommend this one. It was really easy and so tasty. Today I made a giant chicken pot pie. This one's really easy. So first you're just gonna take 2 cups of cooked chicken. I just used a rotisserie chicken and chopped it all up. And then 2 cans of the cream of chicken with herbs. And then 2 of these bags of peas and carrots. You're just gonna stir that up and then add a little chicken broth. I did about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cups. And then you're gonna season that real good. I did garlic powder, onion powder, and some pepper. Put it in a 9x13 pan. Pat it down real good, and then you're gonna get these puff pastry sheets. I only used 1. You could use 2 if you want. I just rolled mine thin and then placed that over the top just like this. I pinched mine. You could just throw it over too. And then I put 2 little slits on the top of this just like this, and then I got an egg out, scrambled that up, and then I put a little egg wash on the top of this to make it all nice and golden and crispy. And then I baked it at 400 degrees for around 40 to 45 minutes. Just take it out when it's all nice and golden brown. The whole family loves this one. It's so comforting and filling and just delicious. Today I made a pizza pot pie. This was really delicious and really easy to make as well. So first I cooked up 1 pound of Italian sausage and then put a can of pasta sauce in there. And then you're gonna make this red lobster biscuit dough. The directions are just on the box. And then you're just gonna stir this up. All right, whenever that sausage is cooked and everything, you're gonna put it at the bottom of your pie pan. So just like this. And then you're really just going to put any pizza toppings that you like in there. You don't have to add what we did, but we did black olives and then mushrooms and pepperoni. So I just lined them up. And then you're going to stack this with cheese after that. We did mozzarella in this Italian blend. I did around 2 cups of cheese. And then I added the biscuit dough to the top. Just make sure it's an even layer at the top. If you add more toppings than I did, just decrease the sauce a little bit so it doesn't boil over in the oven. I baked this at 400 degrees for 25 minutes uncovered, and then you're going to take that out and then cover it with some foil and then bake it for another 25 minutes. I know it does take a little bit longer, but those biscuits need to get cooked all the way through at the bottom. And then that biscuit dough came with some butter topping that you're supposed to put on the top of the biscuit dough. You're going to put that on right at the end, and it'll soak all up here. And it was so delicious, guys. We served ours in bowls with a side salad. I highly recommend this one. It's a little different and delicious. Tonight's dinner was Crockpot cheesy ranch potatoes and sausage. This recipe was incredibly easy, guys. So first you're just going to saute your sausage, peppers, and onions in a pan and then throw those in. You don't necessarily have to saute them, but I think they taste a little better when you do. 1 bag of the shredded frozen hash browns, and then 1 can of this cheddar cheese soup. You're going to dump all this in your crock pot, and then about 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then about a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And you're not going to taste the sour cream in there for everybody that says they don't like sour cream. Don't worry. And then about a packet of ranch seasoning. 1 cup of shredded cheese. And then you're just going to stir this up really well and cook this on low for around 4 hours, or you could do high about 2. It does not take very long. This was a huge hit at our house. It was gone within minutes. Today for lunch, I made the kids a ranch chicken pot pie casserole. So first you're going to take 2 to 3 cups of cooked chicken. I just use a rotisserie chicken, so much easier. And then I did 2 cans of the cream of chicken. One of them I had the one with herbs. I like that one best, but I only had one of them. And then I did a bag of frozen mixed vegetables. Threw that in, and then I did a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. You could use a separate bowl, it'll probably be much easier. And then I used some ranch seasoning, so it's about 1.5 packs of ranch seasoning. So you're going to stir this up really well, as good as you can. And then you're going to add about 1 cup of shredded cheese to this, and then stir this up really well as well. And then I got a tube of biscuits, and I put those right on the top. I like the grands the best for this one. And then a 1/2 stick of butter melted with some minced garlic in there. And then a 1/2 pack of ranch goes in this. And then you stir that up really well. And you're going to pour this on top of your biscuits. You're going to save half of this mixture and put it on again during the baking process. So you're going to bake this at 350 for about 30 minutes covered. Take your foil off and add the rest of your mixture and bake for another 15 to 20 minutes. This turned out incredible. Tonight for dinner, I made Marry Me chicken mac and cheese. And let me tell you, this was so incredible. I'm not even just saying that. It tasted so delicious. So first I did 2 to 3 pounds of chicken, and I cubed that all up. And then added some smoked paprika, some pepper, some onion powder, some garlic powder. And then I threw that in my crock pot. And then in a separate bowl, I took 3 cups of chicken broth and 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. This recipe does make a ton, just so you know. So if you have a smaller family, definitely cut this recipe in half. And then a big old scoop of minced garlic, a tablespoon or so of smoked paprika, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And then I added some pepper, some more garlic powder, onion powder to this mixture as well. And I added a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. If you don't like it spicy, don't add them. And then you're going to do about half of this jar of sun-dried tomatoes. You're going to stir this up really well and then add it to your crock pot. And then on top of that, you're going to take half of a stick of butter and slice that up and put it on top. Then you're going to cook on high for a couple of hours until that chicken is nice and done, and then add your cheese list. So I did about 5 cups in total. I will add the cheese list in my recipe. You're going to stir this up really well, add a 1/2 block of softened cream cheese or just microwave it for a bit, and then pour in your noodles. I did about 2 pounds, and then you wait a little bit and your mac and cheese looks like this. Tonight for dinner, we made pork tenderloin with apples in the crock pot. So we took 2 pork tenderloins, some Granny Smith apples, and then we cut those pork tenderloins about 1 inch apart and then stuck some apples in them. We peeled our apples just in case the skin was too tough. I wasn't sure about that, and I'm glad we did, and none of it went to waste because the kids actually love the skin and they eat them like fruit roll-ups. And then we took 2 onions, chopped those up, and threw them in our crock pot as well. 1 cup of chicken broth. And then I added some pepper to both the meat and the chicken broth. And then you're going to add a teaspoon of cumin. And then a couple teaspoons of cinnamon as well. You're going to stir this up really well. And then add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. You're going to pour this mixture over your meat. And then get 3/4 stick of butter, cut that up, and then add that to the top. And then I cooked mine on high for about 3 to 4 hours, and then low about 6 to 7. You could pour those juices over it as well, and it tasted great. Tonight for dinner, we made an easy jalapeno popper chicken in the oven. So first we took some chicken and seasoned that up really well, a block of softened cream cheese, and then we finally got to pick our jalapenos. Lena was so excited too. We chopped those up and added that to our mixture with a little bit of sour cream in there. And then we added about a cup of cheese. And then some easy onion. And of course, don't forget to taste test as you cook. We added some garlic as well. And then stirred that up really well. And of course, more taste testing. A little bit spicy for Lena here. Had to get a big drink. And then we spread this over our chicken. Then we took a tube of Ritz crackers. You're going to crunch those up really well. Add them to a bowl with about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And then a couple tablespoons of butter, and toss that together really well. And we topped this on top of our chicken and baked it at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes covered. And then we took that cover off and baked it for an additional 15 minutes till it was nice and golden brown. And it tasted delicious.